Hey everybody, welcome to Storm Talk. Way through News meteorologist Brian Good on this Monday. Get ready for some dramatic changes in our weather in the coming days. Tonight will be just a teaser of what could be coming our way later this week into the weekend. As far as the monitoring board goes, only one date really where we have thunderstorm potential to monitor, and that looks to be for Wednesday. We'll get to that detail in a second. After that, the forecast models kind of wide variations in the longer term. We'll let that sort itself out before we dive into more specifics. But in the short term, cold front came through around midday today, had a few light showers with it. Those are quickly now moving to the south and fading away in southern Kentucky. Now, this is one of those classic situations where the front has moved through, but the colder air is lagging behind, but it's coming. In fact, 13 miles to the north of Louisville right now, it is in the 50s. It's 72 here in Louisville. That's the reason why the winds are gustier right now. It's a very tight temperature gradient. It adds to the pressure gradient, obviously, and that leads to gusty winds. The winds will remain quite strong the next couple of hours as that colder air works its way in. So by the time you get off work today, if you're watching at the office, it should be noticeably cooler than what you had at lunch. And we'll see that trend continue throughout the nighttime hours. So because of that, we are likely going to see the winds relax later tonight. A mainly clear sky, perfect recipe for a freeze to take place. Here in the city of Louisville, we may not get below the freezing mark, but some of you may, and that's why the freeze warning has been posted for most of Wave Country. And some may see something a little more than a freeze. I'll explain here on Futurecast. Here's the latest model run showing that northerly flow in the area tonight. We'll see that temperature drop. Notice this little wave, though, that moves in from the northeast. That is going to move into drier air, so it should fade out, but it is trying to hint that maybe some snowflakes may fall later tonight, after midnight especially. A few snowflakes may survive. It all depends on how much of that dry air is left. That would be the only thing that could affect, too, the overnight temperature forecast. If this band of clouds holds on, that would allow areas along I-65 especially to probably not get as cold as areas to the east and the west of it. So kind of a odd-looking temperature map later tonight, but nevertheless, it's going to be a colder night, and that's going to be the headline for our area. All right, now as we get into Tuesday afternoon, lots of sunshine, beautiful-looking day tomorrow, but it's going to be cool. To get into the 50s is going to be a struggle. I think we'll spend maybe a couple of hours there in the afternoon, but most of the day will be in the 40s. Then we get into a southeast wind, southerly flow as we head into tomorrow night into Wednesday. That means tomorrow night and Wednesday not as cold, only about 40 or so for low. And then we get into the stage here for Wednesday afternoon. Gusty winds, temperatures will likely climb into at least the 60s in many locations ahead of a band of showers and thunderstorms. And the temperature profile in Buffett, and I know this is hard to read, but you read this from the right to the left, basically. And as I've mentioned before, this is again right to the left in time, and this is the temperature or the wind profile, the ground level, and here it is way up high. What I'm looking for here is where you start to see the blues and yellows and the purples dive down. That is where you're going to have the gusty wind potential as we head into the time period. Notice the winds for tonight, nice and calm and relaxed. They pick up out of the south, so a little more of a gustier profile for winds for tomorrow night into Wednesday. And speaking of Wednesday, afternoon and evening, another profile of strong winds. Notice how strong these winds are, very close to the surface. Another situation where we've got to watch for instability. Can thunderstorms develop and tap into those stronger winds to produce severe weather? That's something we'll be monitoring for Wednesday. But let me have some decent data on this to share with you guys. First off, here's the winds aloft. We already saw that on the profile there, showing them above our area, pretty strong. But here's the issue. Not a lot of moisture return with this system, so it's going to be a struggle to get dew points to that magical 60-degree mark for this time of the year in dew point level. Only lower 50s showing up in the models. Not exactly a juicy atmosphere for Wednesday, so that will help us out in keeping the thunderstorm potential on the lower side. The Capes, therefore, instability, not off the charts either, very low. This is another situation of a high wind shear type event, very little instability. You mainly get thunder showers, thunderstorms, and the ability to get thunderstorms to reach into that higher level of high winds has been significantly reduced in that kind of a profile. The soundings, again, showing no severe weather potential. You can see the how dry we are. The green is the dew point, red is temperature line. When they're spaced apart, tells us how dry. Now, some dry air aloft can indicate damaging winds, but in this case, this is a fairly dry sounding, a good chunk of the area. Only a low level moisture expected. So we'll keep an eye on that, but overall, this is not looking to be off the chart event, and nothing like what we went through, by the way, last Thursday. After that moves out, we get into a situation where we got several little vorts, little pieces of energy. They're going to rotate in starting Friday and probably lasting into Saturday. Each one of these will keep the temperatures down Temperature-wise, into the 30s in some cases for highs, depending on how deep these systems do dig. Can't rule that out. Also, there will be some moisture with this. And there's a lot of debate on how much of that moisture will spread into the center part of wave country, but if you live in the north and northeast sections of Louisville, your chances are a little higher. But it is going to be a colder profile. So yes, there is a chance to see snow with some of this. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, the ground's too warm. You can't get accumulating snow this time of the year. Yada, yada, yada. Let me go ahead and just stress this. You can get accumulating snow even this time of the year. We've had accumulating snow all the way through the end of April. So that's not unheard of. This setup, I don't see the rate being overly powerful enough to produce anything on accumulations. We'll have to watch that because the rate will be key. Also, if it's coming in during the daytime hours, the sun angle is going to counter against it. It's going to melt on contact. If it's nocturnal, it may have a better chance. So we'll fine-tune the details on this, but I will say the data today for midday is coming in colder aloft, especially as we went into Friday night into Saturday. Not so much Friday day. This is the GFS for Friday day, showing the best chance for snow, rain, snow mix. At this point, this looks to be literally that. Rain with snowflakes. But the Euro, well, it looks similar in this, and I notice it doesn't show the different colors for temperature type or precipitation type. Just let you know, this is basically showing a rain snow mix, not all snow, especially around Cincinnati. This is a very cold look here, but again, it looks to be north and east of Louisville. So Indiana and Ohio and East Kentucky probably stand a better chance, we think, wintry on Friday. But then Saturday, better chance, and we're colder on Saturday. And I just looked at the latest Euro, and it's coming in with the same idea that Saturday will be the coldest day out of this outbreak. And if there's enough moisture around, I wouldn't rule out some snow showers. And in the way this is looking, the depth of the cold air may be deep enough that we're literally dealing with an all-snow situation potentially flying around on Saturday, and temperatures will be struggling. Some locations, if the GFS and the Canadian models are right, may not get out of the mid-30s on Saturday, which is going to bite big time. But that potential is there. So lots to keep an eye on here is for the end of the week. We got to get through Wednesday first, but at least there is something unique showing up down the road. And speaking of that, the Canadian goes crazy with another low pressure digging in, a strong low. This would all be snow, by the way. This would be a heavy snow for Illinois and Iowa. It's about the 13th or so of April. GFS, not buying that idea. It goes for a warmer profile. The Euro is now coming in. I'll let you know what it says later today, but that's the reason why I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the long range. It's not surprising to see the Euro do, or the Canadian, I'll get it right, the Canadian do this. The Canadian has a tendency to be a very cold bias model at times, so that's not that shocking, but just let you know that there's still a very dynamic weather pattern in place that could last all the way through mid-April with cold shots still probable. All right, guys, so as you can tell, just in the next 7 days, we have a lot to keep an eye on, and nothing drastic, nothing major, but it is going to be unusually cold at times, and there could be some active weather with some gusty winds and some lightning and thunder to track as well. So stay close to the forecast as we'll continue to make changes as we get more data on this setup. All right, I'll see you today beginning at 5 o'clock.